أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. السلام عليكم everyone. All right, so how's everyone doing? Good, alhamdulillah, full of energy. Okay, so alhamdulillah. So first of all, jazakallah khair for this opportunity. Thank you everyone for joining in. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put barakah in it. Ameen. And so this is a remote session. We are not there in person in a room. I'll try my best to make it as much interactive as possible. So if you have any questions, comments, anything, you can raise your hand, you can unmute yourself, you can do anything, that's fine. So, but as you know, the presentation today is going to focus on the teamwork and leadership development. And there's so much to talk about. So I will be talking a little faster if you don't mind. And if you have any questions, you want me to slow down, just raise your hand again or put it in the chat. So a little bit about this topic, first of all, is the teamwork. When I talk about the teamwork and the development, notice that we have to focus in terms of within our teamwork of sub-chapters or chapters of MCNA and YMJ. We can talk about it or think in terms of different chapters coming together, mutual collaboration, and you can also think and visualize how you will bring these topics and the concept that I'm going to talk about today within your classroom. Apply them within your teacher's boundary, apply them in your classroom concepts, learning, lesson plans, anything that you want to do. So we're going to be looking at a very broad prospect of this, but you have to think about how you're going to apply them. And I'll be throwing a lot of examples in class and all of that, inshallah. So let's just get started. The agenda today, inshallah, we'll first try to understand what exactly is teamwork. How do you apply that? How do you select or have a team in terms of a leader? Then we'll have a small poll. So if anyone falls asleep or I lose that person, we come back and we take that poll to keep our session interactive as possible. And then we'll talk about 12 prophetic leadership qualities. We'll take a look at a lot of hadiths, a lot of ayahs from the Quran, inshallah. Then we'll do a case study. I really hope we have enough time for this case study. If not, then we'll try to have some other backup portion. And then we'll do 5 or 555 teamwork leadership rules. These are my own personal 5 leadership rules that I apply in my classrooms. So I'm going to share them with you. And then we'll just conclude the session, inshallah. So let's see. All right, so working together, we all know that as a part of community, as part of humanity, we always do that. It's part of religion. You know, a lot of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taught a lot of things in terms of learning. We just heard Brother Asfer talking about consultation and leadership traits and all of that, right? So we think about it. And it seems very difficult to survive on our own. We always need someone like a companion, a community member, a friend, someone. So you cannot be a solo person doing everything all by yourself. So from also psychology perspective, a human needs a companion and a team to perform and be successful in whatever operations we do. And when we have a group of people working together, in most cases, we end up selecting one person to guide us. To inspire us, and then we just select that person as our role model or as our leader most of the cases. We saw that for Adam alayhi salam. We see that Adam alayhi salam had a companion, Hawa, and this marked the formation of the very first team on earth, if you really think about that. Musa alayhi salam, Harun alayhi salam were working as a team, and that was a prophet team. So when leading the nation, they help each other out. Musa alayhi salam asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for his brother to be a team member when spreading Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's message with him, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Taha, and grant me a helper. Musa alayhi salam said, actually, this is quoted, and grant me a helper from my family, Harun, my brother. Strengthen me through him and let him share my task. So, and we also saw teamwork when Rasulullah migrated to Medina. Those were the teams that were formed between, we all know, Ansar and Muhajirin, right? So we take an example of our hand. I want you to look at your fingers right now, all of you. What do you see? You have fingers, and all of those are different sizes. They're not same size fingers, right? They all have different functions, right? So when they all work together, what happens? You should be making a fist right now. When you all work together with those fingers, what happens? You feel that strength, that power in your hand. Imagine if you have to carry something, maybe you can carry a glass, right? You probably can carry from your 2 fingers or 3 fingers. But if you carry it from your entire all fingers, utilization of all fingers, your strength becomes stronger. You can carry it for a longer time and a longer distance. So when you work together, now you imagine those fingers as individuals. When you work together individually, they have different functions. Every human has different job, different function, different skill set. But when you work collaboratively together for a common goal, a lot of that work can be achieved faster and with a great performance, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Imran, and hold firmly to the rope of Allah all together and do not become divided. What do you notice over here? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying collectively, right? He's not saying individual, he's saying all together. This ayat has a word ikhwana. Ikhwana means plural form, like a brotherhood, like combined together, combined efforts. So the development of leadership frame in Islam begins with the spiritual aspect of what Rasulullah ﷺ has described to us. So a Sahaba, Abu Musa reported Rasulullah ﷺ saying, a believer to another believer is like a building whose different parts enforce each other. And I want you to imagine now, based on that, right, building something together. I want you to imagine believers like bricks in a wall. And we have all seen a bricks wall, right? You have one brick on top of another and top of another, and those bricks support each other. Those bricks reinforce each other. So when you have bricks, what happens? Like, how do you think the bricks support each other? What happens with those bricks? When you put them on top of each other, you are forming some kind of a structure, right? And that structure is maybe a wall that you form, maybe a whole building that is now made up of those bricks, right? But have you noticed that that entire work starts with only one brick at a time, and that makes your foundation. So in between, so when you have bricks on top of each other, I want you to imagine that. I hope you're still imagining with me. You have bricks on top of each other, and that just made a wall or a whole structure of a building. But now what is in between those bricks that are holding the bricks together? Any idea, any chat message? What is in between those bricks? That wasn't that difficult. All right. That is concrete. Well, that is a concrete wall. So in between the brick is maybe a cement, something that is making it cohesive, something that is sticking it out. So a cement maybe, right? Depending on the concrete cement, yeah, the cement will become a concrete and then holding that together. Very good. And now imagine those bricks as human. So now humans are supporting each other. So when you have a group of people like bricks working together, what holds the people together? What is it in between the people, in between people that's holding them together? Bonded with water, concrete that connects. What is it that is holding us together in that?
Trust.
Trust, yes, that could be one factor. Yeah. What is that cohesive factor between us? It could be teamwork. Very good. Our faith, that's wonderful. So you must have that trust, you must have that faith, you must have all of those teamwork, humanity. Yes, that's a deriving phase. One of the factors of that is humanity. We do all of that for humanity. And all of that combined together, we are going towards our goal. So the most trust is yes. So the more we have that cohesive nature of bounding together, right? We are binding together, and what is the main factor that connects us together? Actually, along with all of those beautiful answers that you've given me, is the common goal. One goal. You're looking forward. You are all in the same direction, trying to achieve that common goal. Right? And that is your outcome. That is your result, your teamwork. It's a team that needs to have someone also to guide towards that direction that we're talking about to achieve that common goal and to lead you towards that common direction. And that's someone who is making that happen with for Allah's pleasure. Yes, that's a good answer also. And that's someone who's actually making that happen to drive the whole team into one direction, along with that cohesive power that we all learn, is the leader, right? So that's someone with special qualities. So let's move this here. So now, what is teamwork? Basically, this is a definition. I just wanted to bring it to you: an ability to work cooperatively with others to achieve group objectives. And then, this is required as a fundamental, because leadership is not individual sport. When you are talking about leadership, it is not done individually. So that means it's a combined effort, combined of each member, how you derive that force, how you come up with that. So I want you to pause over here for a few seconds, because I want to tell you something very interesting fact. The term team that we use all the time in our conversation, right? It actually comes from a German language. The word team derives from a German root word that basically means that the word is Dogmes. Dogmes in German, the basic meaning of that word is a group of horses pulling together a carriage, where people sit, or where the product or the information or the items is being kept. So it's Dogmes. Dogmes is the group of horses pulling together a carriage. So when you think about group of horses pulling together, you can imagine a few horses pulling together, or maybe one horse pulling together. In either situation, you want those horses, or you want that one horse who is now acting as a leader to have some quality. The horse has to be fast. That means horse has to be stronger. Horse needs to understand where is the direction, right? The speed of that direction matters. So all of these qualities, you can say the horses or that individual horse needs to have it. The strongness in the body, the fast direction, the direction itself, and also the speed it is going, because it is going to be longer. You're using that carriage to go to a further speed. So all of that is required, and that's exactly where the origination of the word team comes in. So in Islam, we talk about the Islamic framework in terms of two principles. The very first principle is the vision of that teamwork. Exactly knowing what is a vision of the team, what is going to be a vision of that leader who is leading the team, with all of those qualities that we're going to talk about in a few seconds. And the second very big principle is actually impact. The impact of that leadership on the team, the impact of the direction the leader is leading you for the team, the impact of how the team is going to develop, what exactly are we going to develop, what type of impact it is. It is a negative impact, positive impact, and impact not necessarily from the leader's perspective, but also internally from the team people's perspective as well. A member having a negative impact, and you learn from that member, and everyone else is going towards the opposite direction. So that vision and impact is very powerful and very important aspect, and that becomes a key factor for the organizational leadership frameworks, that we demonstrate in our classes, such as MICNA and YMJ, and that's very important. So what we're going to do for the next maybe a minute or two is answering a survey question. Okay, so you could do that. If you're using a computer, you can use that on your cell phone. If you're using a cell phone, you can open another browser and do that. If you don't want to do that, you can simply put it in the chat and I'll take the answer. What you need to do is to go to, I'll highlight it over here. You need to go to this polev.com/makhtar120, MAKHTAR 120. So polev.com/this. So this actually goes in here. Okay, you're going there on your browser, or if you're on your cell phone, you can simply send a message to 37607 and you're going to type makhtar 120. Okay. What are you going to do? You're going to answer a question. In your opinion, what are the top 3 important qualities of a good leader? Notice I did not say just the word leader. I said good leader. And you have about a minute to do that. Let's not spend too much time. Just 1 minute is more than enough, inshallah. So let's see. When you have that screen, when you're done with that, I'm going to share the results with you. and see who has it. You can put in the chat and I'll put it for you in there also. As you can see, the answers are all coming in. This is going to be a word cloud forming in. Very nice. Caring, communication, motivate, listens, understanding, opinion. That's good. Organization, fairness, emotional, empathy. All right, so those of you who are sending me a chat, I'm going to put it for you in there. You said kindness, sincere. Delegation, responsible. Very nice, mashallah. And they all keep coming in. Humbleness, that's very good. That's what I was looking for. A leader must always be humble. Commitment. Believing in Allah, very good. Understanding our purpose on life, right? Openness of heart, good communication. Communication is so important. A lot of organizational goals are not understood because of lack of communication. All right, acceptance of. All right, I think we are good. We have a lot of these words in the cloud, and I'm so happy, mashallah, your sisters did a great job, great answers, everyone. So I try to put most of it, respect one another, very good, yes. Understand the feelings, yes. Understanding of difference, accepting of differences, openness of heart. Mashallah, these are so beautiful. So I'm going to put this all together and put it, later on in there. Very good. So all of these, confidence, organization, decisive understanding, perfect. And they all keep coming in. I love how active and energetic you guys are right now. All right. So yeah, so beautiful, mashallah. All right, so we're gonna go back over here now. All of those answers, beautiful, great answers. Thank you so much, Jazakallah khair. So what we're going to do now, so now that we understand what should we are looking for in a good leader, right? What should good leader qualities are, characteristics are, we're going to look at a bigger framework based on the answers that you just submitted, okay? So leaders, because leaders should work very closely, and the relationship with the leader that has with the team and his followers is very, very important, because leaders need to contribute energy, work together, guide the members, lead them, inspire them, motivate them, and to be able to achieve common goals that they have, right? And that was the model of leadership our Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam taught us, and that was practiced in our Sahabas and Tabi'in and the first three generations of Islam. And we always need to follow them and keep it in our mind to make sure we follow them very closely. So it does not matter whether we are a leader of a nation, leader of a community, leader of a household, leader of a team or a group. It does not matter how big or how small it is. If we have the responsibility of being a leader, we have to be very careful, because once the authority is given to us, we are responsible. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is holding us responsible to making sure we do the job the best of the ability that we have and follow the model that our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has given it to us, right? So all of these practices are essential. Yeah, okay, very good. So let's start with that. So, and at the same time, as I'm moving, at the same time, we want to make sure that we respect each other, we respect the team members, we respect the leader, follow the decisions and all of that, right? I remember Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, one time said, as a Muslim hadith, it says, be with the group for the wolf eats far off sheep. So be with the group, for the wolf eats from the far off sheep. That means if you are alone, if you're just working on your own self, that there are more chances of attacking, and there are less chances when you're with the crowd, when they're team, you're working closely with each other. And we also have to remember that a leadership is amana. I did not see that word in any of your choices there, but I wanted to bring it up to you because this is so essential. Leadership is not something that we can volunteer for, and it's something that we should not want for it, right? It has to be given based on understanding that people have of us, based on if it's deserving, and it should be taken as an amana from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a gift because it has to be done in a perfect way. It's a very responsible role, and that should make us more humble. Humbleness was one of the qualities that one of the sisters said. That was beautiful. So I want to quote Abraham Lincoln here, because he said, nearly all men can stand adversity, but if you want to test a man's character, give him power. And that is so true, because people have bad days, challenges, and they recover from it. But if someone gets, a challenging, high power or leadership or all of those bigger roles, and we really get to see what their character are. Does that make this person, have ego, or does that make this person arrogant? Does that make a, high, powerful position jealous or prideness? And we see that a lot of time, that all of those negative things come to people because of higher position. Actually, that should make them humble, right? Because power affects human behavior. You have to look at power or leadership it's like a tea bag, because we all drink tea, right? We all have teas and coffees. You look at the tea bag. If you have to put that tea bag in a water, regular temperature water, what happens? It's going to take a long time for that water to get that color and that flavor, right? But if you put that tea bag in a hot water, you'll instantly see the color change. You'll instantly see the flavor being, is spread everywhere. So leadership is like a tea bag. You don't know how good is it unless and until you put it in hot water. And for a human, that hot water is a challenging position. So if you put that person in hot water, it means give them challenges, and that's when you see how good that leader is, and how good they can perform their task. Okay. There is there's a famous researcher. His name is Michael Hart. He's actually an astrophysicist. He's also a historian and wrote a lot of books and researched a lot. He published his book in 1978. This is a specific book, which I'm going to show you in a few seconds. He published that book back in 1978. And then it was so popular that he published this again. He recompiled it again. He published this again. And it was done again in 1992. And I think the third version was published again. So why I'm giving you a little bit of background on that one is because that book was called 100, the ranking of the most influential persons in history, right? So it has been recompiled and published 2 more times. So that means total 3 times. And that was about 100 influential people. Do you know who was number 1 on that list? Anyone? Any idea who was number 1 on that list? And we're talking about leadership here. Our Prophet, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Yes, so this sister, did you read that book? That book came a little bit controversial, but then that was actually became very popular book. Yes, it was the top person. Yes, our Prophet. So the very top one. So we realize that even non-Muslims have, they realize that our Prophet created the best model, the perfect model of teamwork and leadership. So now let's take a look at the 12 prophetic leadership qualities that our Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has given it to us. So the very first one is integrity and trust. Right. So when I'm talking about these 12 prophetic leadership, I'm going to be giving examples from Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and also Sahabas. I'm also going to be, someone can mute. Okay, I'm also going to be looking at the teamwork in terms of our teachers and also what you can apply in your classroom as well, inshallah. So integrity and trust. So you know the Rasulullah Sallallahu people was called Sadiq and Amin, right? They left their manas with him. So as team, when we work in teams, we need to trust each other. And when we trust each other, we are more open to sharing ideas. We are more comfortable. We collaborate more effectively with our team. And at the same time, we show more integrity. So trust factor is very important within our team environment, within our classroom. And you can build that behavior in your classes as well. Create an atmosphere where students not only learn and share their ideas, but without any judgment, they just be open. We have seen that a lot of time when they're high school students or college students that I teach, a lot of time they just come to their teachers. They just want to share or they're doubtful about something that happened in their school, and they're more open to their teachers, right? Because they look at their teachers as non-judgmental, and that's very important. You just need to listen to them so they're able to trust you with whatever is going on, and you're able to suggest them different guidelines and different directions that they can pursue the correct knowledge, inshallah. The second one is vision. Having a vision, having a clear mission, having a purpose is very important. So why are we here in this world, right? Let's start from that. Our purpose of existence is so clear, to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? In everything, right? Every action, every vision in our life should be crystal clear once we start doing that. So because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala becomes a central mission and direction, and that brings inspiration in that vision. For our classroom, our purpose of the lesson plan must be very clear, right? Working together is a key over here. You know that your plan may not work sometimes, and that happens a lot of time, that you go in there, you start teaching, and that something happens and you're not able to finish your lecture or lesson plan. And so adaptation comes in, unforeseen situation comes in. How are you going to adapt to that new situation that comes in? And you should always have to be ready for that. There is an African saying, it says, if you want to travel fast, travel alone. But if you want to travel far, travel together. That means togetherness in a group, in a team. So you take an example of togetherness in terms of constructing a house, for instance, right? So you're constructing a house. Besides the contractor is not the only one that you need for house construction. You need plumber, you need electrician, you need maybe a builder, an architect, right? All of those people, because everyone has a different job. But sharing the load and doing something together becomes a common purpose and to achieve a common goal. And you know that when you do something alone, yes, you may get work done, but when you do something together, there is 60%, and that's the real stat, studies show there's 60% more improved performance when you try to work together, because that is the power of cooperation. You cooperate. We need that. And we need that to teach our children and our students the power of working together. Okay. So the next one is self-discipline, right? You have examples of Umar radhiyallahu anhu. You have examples of Ali radhiyallahu anhu. Umar radhiyallahu anhu used to walk on the streets of Medina at night just to make sure no one sleeps hungry. Everyone has food. Everyone has shelter. They're safe, right? They want to make sure. Ali radhiyallahu anhu would buy clothes. We have examples. Would buy clothes for his servants, right? And once the cloth is bought, once he has enough money, that's when he will buy clothes for himself. Why did he do that? Didn't he have money? There was money in Baitul Mal, but they did not want to touch it because they are responsible, right? They are in authority. They have to answer Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? Can you compare the level of integrity, level of leadership, level of self-discipline from that time to what is happening these days? We really need leaders like Umar radhiyallahu anhu. That is so essential. So you have to keep that example in your mind and then evaluate yourself. I have to evaluate myself. You have to evaluate yourself, and in your classroom, right? Students are our responsibility. So students are under our umbrella. So teaching, you have to look at it. That's not a job, guys, right? Teaching is not a job, because the amount of knowledge that you're able to transfer to your students, look at it as sadqa jariyah. Look at it, how much responsibility that will bring to us, right? So how are we making a good impact on our students as a role model? That's something we really need to ask ourselves. This is sadqa jariyah for us. So we have to give our best, the best ability and the best of the best that we have. Okay, inshallah. Wisdom, right? Having is basically having a good judgment, having a good knowledge, good communication, common sense, understanding. So when you say that you have a good judgment, but no knowledge, that is not wisdom. Having a good knowledge, but no communication, no judgment, that is not wisdom. So wisdom is the presence of all of those components together. How are you going to apply that? Having a long-term view, being able to analyze something long-term is essential as well. So we have to keep in mind all of that. Courage, be confident in challenging situation. That's bravery. Like competence. Yeah, so Rasulullah Sallallahu showed us. He provided the model of being efficient, being reliable, being communicator. He was able to say a lot of a lot of things, powerful things, giving very few words, and that made such powerful impact. And he was riding horses. He was a swordsman. He knew how to construct this. So construction skills, practical, everyday skills, all of that. So helping together, each other is a common goal. So for example, all of our sisters here, right? We're all here. Some of us are here from Westbury, East Meadow, Suffolk, Bronx, Valley Stream, all of those places, Queens. So be able to unite together, work together within your team, and also collaborate outside different subchapters is essential, right? Because there could be some different logistics within a team framework, but the common goal is there. We all have the common goal. So why can't we collaborate, learning from each other, discussing ideas together, inshallah, consultation together, inshallah. That brings barakah, and there's a big, powerful impact of barakah, right? Next one is just, being fair and just, not taking sides, always making good decision. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves those who are just. So we can just have that. Decisive. So a team should not sit on a fence. When you make a decision, consider all those options, but when you make a decision, just act on it. Consultation that we've been talking about in the beginning, it's very important. We have a team, that's a shura, the expertise are there, people are there. Consultation, we have example from Battle of Trench, when Rasulullah Sallallahu did not know how to protect Medina. Salman Farsi was there, and Rasulullah Sallallahu asked Salman Farsi, and the advice that was given to dig the trench, and that's what happened, right? So that happened because of the consultation, because of the shura, because of people who have experience in these things. So listen to them and act upon it. Next one is social skills, example-based leadership. This is leading by example. Rasulullah again, showed us how to deal with situations with actions and not just words, right? He once said the leader of a people is their servant. You know how powerful that is? A leader of people is their servant. So when Umar, I'm going to give you an example because this is so important, a story behind this, right? Having a leader of the people as the servant, which is showing by example. Remember, after one of the battles, the leader of Jerusalem, the ruler of Jerusalem told Khalid bin Walid that I will give the tax to only the Khalifa. And the Khalifa at that time was Umar. And Umar started his journey from Medina to Jerusalem, and he took a servant with him and a camel. And he discussed, again, the social skill comes in with making a decision, right? Shura. He didn't make the decision by himself that, okay, I'm going to be riding on the camel and the servant will be riding alone. No, he decided based on the advice, based on the judgment, and based on consultation from his servant. He said, if you sit on the camel and I walk, that's not good. If I sit on a camel and you walk, that's not good. If we both sit on the camel, that's not good for the camel. So what do we do? And so they decided we'll take turns. So by the time, what happens? Well, by the time they reach Jerusalem, it was a servant's turn to be on the camel. And if we do something like this, like we're entering someplace and we think about our reputation, oh, what will people say to us if this happens? And we want to look the best, we want to do the best thing because we want to create our impression. What happened to Umar? What did he do? He let it go, even though the servant said, Umar, come and sit over here, I'll walk because you are the ruler. He said, no, it is your turn. It is not fair. What will I tell Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? That I'm being unfair. How much they treated their authority. What did they do? So when he entered, the ruler of the Jerusalem saw that Umar is walking and somebody who's sitting on a camel is the servant, right? These are the example that we have today, and this is what we have to lead by. So social skills and example-based leadership is really, we have to learn from our history, inshallah. Next one is patience, having resilience, forgiveness, having a plan in life. Remember that as a team and a leader, we have a mission. And we have to show patience no matter what happens. Compassion, showing passion, pure, gentle heart within a team for each other. That's also very important. Emotional and spiritual intelligence, right? So emotional intelligence, we all understand, having empathy, being strong inside, inspire people, smiling, that's a sadaqah, right? That's a charity. But what is a spiritual intelligence is actually a step ahead of emotional intelligence. We all know emotional, but spiritual is the next level of intelligence that leverages the power and the value of meaningful example that you will show through your emotional intelligence. So those are some of the factors. All right, so those are the 12 prophetic leadership qualities. I don't know if you were taking notes, if you're writing it down, but these are so powerful. Once you apply them in your life is really complete in the team perspective and the leader's perspective. But we're going to go on and we'll talk about some of the case studies. Right? So what I have for you case studies, I actually had a breakout room all set up, but I don't think we have time for that. So we're going to go ahead and skip that breakout room, but I will still talk to you about some of the things. So the task number one that I planned on doing is when you are in a breakout, or I can just talk about as a case study, when you're together, selecting a leader is essential and the quality of the leader is imperative, right? So once you do that, what is the first best idea that comes to your mind that is essential for a successful team or effective teamwork, right? So when you talk about teamwork, there are different ideas should come to your mind. And those ideas could be based on what we just talked about, okay? Best ideas. So we select best ideas together, and then you put them in terms of priority. This is my priority to achieve. And you consult with each other, you consult with leader, and that's how you start going on in any given situation. And then you think about the worst ideas as well, because you always need to have a plan, right? Planning in life is essential. So you have best idea, but you have a backup plan that if something doesn't work, what could be the next best factor? And what could be something that we're not going to pursue at all, right? So those are best ideas and worst ideas that should come to your mind. You can take a picture right now of this screen, and then think about it later, or you do this exercise with your own teams. You take it away from here, and within your team, within your subchapter, within your unit, you can talk about it, right? Whoever the leader is, whoever the in charge is, what are the best ideas? What is happening right now in your group, in your team? And what is not good, that is not working for you guys right now? So what could be the failure? People not collaborating, people not coming to classes. Why are the students not coming to classes? What are the chapters? What are the topic the students like, what they don't like? There could be a lot of different avenues you can look at it. So yeah, go ahead. If you want to take a screenshot of this screen, you can do that and then discuss this among your team, inshallah. That will bring some better and a stronger team. All right, so the next one, we're going to talk about 555, teamwork and leadership rule. And I've divided that into 3 different frameworks. So the very first framework is we'll talk about the benefits of teamwork, okay? I hope I'm not talking too fast, and I hope you guys are still with me in this. So increase work efficiency, right? When I teach, I divide this aspect into 2 different forms. So increase team, I'm going to annotate over here a little bit. So when you talk about increasing efficiency, you talk about 2 things. So number 1 is you have performance of purpose. So look at it in terms of individuals, right? So you have individuals working together in a team, and this is like individual performance. So when you talk about individual performance, you're looking at it in terms of personal performance, okay? And then once this is the highest performance, some people have lower performance levels. Some people just perform whatever is given. Some people go above and beyond, perform their best, right? We have people like that. And that accumulates to team performance. So you have personal performance and you have team performance. So, and you can remember, the higher the personal performance for individual members, that leads to the higher team performance level. So if your personal performance is lower, your team performance is lower, how it affects, right? It's like a curving effect of that. So that's a team versus, and that is so essential for evaluating performance overall for the team. And that increases the productivity, that increases the efficiency and the outcome of that result or whatever they're able to perform, right? Creative thinking, more involvement in their skill development is important, because this is functional skill, self-management skill, a special skill that you want to need for that. And then therefore you have improving personal skills, Personal relationship. Now we pause over here for again, and then let's talk about this personal relationship, right? Personal relationship is like a lot of time we have team conflict. And when you have team conflict, because people have different mindset, they don't agree to each other, or there is something else, different other things going on, different other views and ideas, and they don't feel that they are being trusted. A lot of different mindsets can happen. When that happens, you need to have patience. You need to have respect, right? Because you need to have that sense of belonging. And leader is the one who needs to really create that sense of belonging within a teamwork. There must be commitment. The more the commitment is, the more proud you will achieve, the more satisfaction you'll feel, and that leads to more better result in your team performance. So all of these factors, not that they are only benefits, but they're actually interlinked with each other. And the bottom line is how you're able to come up with better results and outcome. The next one, 555 factor, the middle portion, is a responsibility as a leader and as a team member. So the very first one is be able to accept it, right? I saw one of the sisters wrote that, acceptance, and I was very happy. And I was thinking, you know what, it's coming to you. So acceptance is very important, because what are we accepting? We are not just accepting our strengths, we are also accepting our weaknesses, right? We are accepting our defeats. And when that happens, we should be there for each other, to counsel each other, to reach out to each other, to be just a team member. Because remember, not every member is all a star, right? We all have our weaknesses, we all have our strength. So be able to brainstorm ideas. So I have 5 points over here inside the acceptance. Be able to form that team. Sometimes we don't have the leverage to form that team. Once a team is formed, we go to analyzing our team members' capabilities. Who can do what? Who is good at what? Who is not good at what, right? Strengths and weaknesses. And then also analyze, what are we going to do? So what, who, and how is being analyzed. Yeah. So, and then understanding, the G is missing over here on this slide, understanding what exactly we're supposed to do. And then performing the work together, achieving the goal together. That is all under performing. And once that performance is made, we are improving that. And that improvement is not only self-improvement, though I talked about PP, personal performance and team performance. It's not just improving personal, but also that leads to the team performance and improvement. And that improvement is a continuous improvement. It's not that the result is achieved one time and we end the story right there. No, it has to be a continuous. It's like, you have to imagine it like a loop. Once that is there, you go back to the next goal, and you go back to the next one, you go back, you keep going on, right? So all of these forming, analyzing, understanding, performing, and improving our objective, improving our goal, improving all of that is the continuous loop that we all have to be in and be able to accept that, okay? Positive spirit is a big one. Behind that positive spirit is something no one wants to talk about, is the ego. Watch out for the ego. Alhamdulillah, none of us have it, but just watch out for there. And you'll see different situations in other people, right? Very important for teamwork to have positive spirit, because they could be stressful situation. They could be overwhelming situation. People cannot handle it. A lot of times we hear it from different teams outside, people insult each other, the choice of words, even though they don't mean it. A lot of times this is so indirect and unintentional. People don't mean it, but the words come out, and those are oppressing words or insulting words or criticizing each other's work. We should avoid all of that. May Allah save us from all of that, right? Also, that brings me to another big factor, making assumption. If something happens with someone, we just make assumption. We're so quick as a human to make an assumption, right? In every life, every day of factor. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us in Surah Hujurat, remember he said, فَتَبَيَّنُوا, that means investigate. Do not make false assumption. Do not make false decision about something. And that is so big. You have to really train your students to avoid those things, making assumptions, saying something about someone which is not true. We don't know. So why are we even talking about it, right? That's something we have to avoid and be very clear on that one. And then giving priorities to other people. putting people ahead of us. So in Surah Hashr, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, they give preference over themselves, even though they may be in need. And whoever is saved from the selfishness of their own souls, it is they who are truly successful. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is actually giving us a definition of what we need to do, what we need to save from, what we need to avoid, right? It is right there. It's so clear. All we have to do, inshallah, to apply it in our lives. And then just leadership, we just read about or heard about that, motivating each other, being just, right? And then collaborating, consulting model. So consultation is big, asking each other. What happens is, I'm going to bring in my personal example of what I tell my own students in the classroom is, I deal with senior project students in college. And so we develop this, we work on this Scrum model. And every project students have to work on this Scrum model because it tells us very short, very quick progress about what exactly is happening in a team. So it is all about time management, but there are three aspects of a Scrum model. A Scrum model is part of, number one, you talk about what exactly is a progress we're supposed to make, right? What have we done so far? What is in place? What is ready to take it to the next step? So current progress. Then you talk about challenges, because understanding our challenges, understanding our weaknesses, is so imperative because that guides us into do's and don'ts. So we talk about what are those challenges? How do you overcome those challenges? What should be our plan that we take it to the next step? And the third one is the next step. What exactly do we need to do to continue to continuous improvement to do the next step? What is that step, right? So progress that has been made, challenges that we have to overcome, and what is our next plans? Those are the three very quick questions. That's what we need to do in our teamwork as well. When we meet as a team, when we meet as leader, when we meet in a classroom with our students, very quick things to apply. And then there are some tools that you can use to keep track of that progress as well. There's monday.com, there's Discord. A lot of high school students already use Discord. There's Glyphy chart. You want to keep track of your graphical visualization of that. Sharing files, repository. A lot of time we just share files on WhatsApp, right? But we have it in WhatsApp and that's it. But we should have some kind of repository such as Google, such as OneDrive or whatever it is within our team. So anything we have, it is there, and teachers have access to that. Leaders have, in charge has access to that. So anything we needed, it's there in the drive. Go take it. Share it together, analyze it together. We have to make use of these tools and technologies that's given to us, right? Not just in WhatsApp, but have a separate repository to save things, to help people out. And then that brings in opportunity, create opportunities for people to learn different skill set, different workshops, and all of that. This we did. The last one, very quick, is the 5 skills for effective teamwork. This is your to-do list. Having a good communication, we saw that in the responses that you had earlier from me. Planning and organization, keeping track of the team management and time management as well for the team. Problem solving, collaborating, conflict management. These are your to-do lists. How do you apply those to-do lists? Is over here. See yourself in a team as an ant, not as a lion. We all know about the lion phenomena, right? I'm talking very fast right now and I apologize for that, but I have so much to cover in just a few more minutes and we are done, inshallah. So, we have all seen that lion, a lot of talk and less action. That's not good. Making promises and disappearing, not acting on those promises. That's not good, right? So we need to learn from the ant phenomena. We need to see that how the ants survive depending on so much work that they do and so much cooperation that they have, the hard work that there gets involved. If you suspect someone in your team or in your classroom with doing no teamwork, not contributing, rotate the roles, right? Rotate the roles of a leadership. Watch out for lack of commitment, maybe no accountability, or the purpose is not common. But we always have to watch out. If someone's not contributing, it's not that they don't know or they want to skip or they want to avoid. That could be a personal reason, guys. Could be something else, right? If you suspect that, reach out to that sister, show some empathy, be very careful, because when you shift your thinking in such a way that you become a source of productive support, that builds a cohesive thing. So instead of just ignoring people that, oh, this person never comes in, this person never participate, they may be going on something wrong with the, personal life. There may be something that they don't want to share. So we have to always be respectful and show empathy, right? Because group dynamic counts here as well. Building a trust for each other, that's a hidden code. See how much trust you have as a leader on your team has on each other and on a leader as well. You have motivation with the challenges of conflict resolution. This is very big, challenges of conflict resolution. So we saw conflict resolution earlier in part A for teamwork. We're going to see very quickly as a leader also. So when a team member has made a mistake as a leader, what do? There are two ways. I'll tell you the Islamic way, okay? When someone in your team makes a mistake, if it is done publicly, they say something which is incorrect in terms of quoting a hadith, in terms of ayat, in terms of regulations, in terms of guidelines. If it's Islamic knowledge, and when someone does publicly, you have to stop them, correct them publicly. That is our sunnah. If someone is done privately, you have to correct them in privately. It is not shameful. Doing it publicly, it is not going to embarrass them, because you're going to do it with a very kind, respectful way. Because if they're sharing something wrong, and I have seen it, and I'm sure you have seen that, saying something wrong, because people will take that knowledge. If you wait for next time to tell this person in private, then people have already taken wrong knowledge. Are you going to collect all those people and say, hey, by the way, that knowledge was not right? You need to correct them on the spot very respectfully. And if you want more reflections and hadiths on that, I have them. I've read them. I have them in, you can email me, and I will be happy to share that with you, because that's something, there are guidelines in place in terms of what our religion teaches us, right? So there are different mechanisms applied in terms of correcting people in different situations. And that's very big as a leader or as a team lead. What is your role on doing that? So conflict resolution, we have to be very careful with our words, with our action, and how are we going to do that. Last one, establishing a team culture. The idea is this in charge of the team, or in charge of that McNAR of IMJ, collect feedbacks from people. So let's say you ask people to give you maximum of 3 to 5 feedbacks, right? Don't make it too overwhelming. Maybe 3 feedbacks. Yeah, I'll have it, Sister Miriam, I have it in my last slide, inshallah, I'll share it with you. So ask your team members, and this is very important, guys. We're about to answer, inshallah. Let's focus here. So ask your team members to share at least 3 to 5 feedbacks, right? In terms of where there is room for improvement. And let's say you hear from 5 members. You don't hear from everyone. You hear from 5 people, right? And those 5 people have given you 3 improvement points, right? They submitted 3 suggestions. Now you have 15. You work on that 15. You meet with your members, and you say, now we have 15. Let's prioritize that. You work with those 15 elements. In terms of priority, you spend with a deadline you give to yourself for about 3 months, 6 months, whatever it is, long-term, short-term, and then you see and evaluate yourself how much improvement there is made, right? If there's improvement, you reward your team, you reward yourself, go out for coffee or lunch or whatever it is, and then you reapply constant. It is a constant phase of improvement, and that creates a team culture, right? So collect feedback, goal setting, reevaluation of all those feedback to make sure it is working, and then reward yourself. And that is, again, a loop that, with that, inshallah, that will bring a starting point for development in all our teams, inshallah. And very important, what is important is make lots and lots of dua, because the more dua you make, the more your team members will become valuable in your heart. And that is so powerful, because when your team members, when you are, all the sisters are joined together with that sole purpose that we have for our life, that humbleness we should have in our hearts, that will bring unity, inshallah, right? So let's just conclude this one. So like I said, I love this phrase, leadership is like a tea bag, right? You don't know how good it is until you put in your hot water. And, with that, you need to evaluate, I myself need to evaluate, you have to evaluate your internal strength, your internal weaknesses. If we pass that test, inshallah, and that will show a good quality of the character with a lot of sabr, a lot of patience. And we have to remember to be just, to be fair, use our wisdom in our words, in our actions, so our communities can grow, our communities, our classes can progress, our students can progress, and that will join us together, inshallah. And we need to be achieve Jannah, inshallah. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to follow his command. May he guide us. May he protect us. Ameen. Jazakallah khair everyone for listening. This is my email right here at the bottom. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.